Coming up, we give our tribute to James Cameron's first foray into theme parkery. Not sure if that's actually a word. And we may discuss one or two other things along the way. So, from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged. This is episode 144 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Universal vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. I, of course, am your host, Craig Williams. Today, I am joined alongside by my co-host, the John Connor to my Terminator.
Oh, okay. I thought you were my mummy. I said Sarah Connor.
I had lots of ways I could have went with it. I went with the one that I chose to, Mr. Ryno Clavin.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hello.
You have to take it. You don't have a choice. So. Yeah.
Which John Connor am I? Am I the John Connor from Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis? Oh, he's not in Terminator Genesis. Just kidding. Right? Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's literally the whole thing.
And never mind. I forgot the entire plot of that movie.
No spoilers.
But, yeah.
But yes, he is in it. It's the guy.
I fancy myself the one from the third.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of Claire Danes.
I figured that you were all the way going to be an Eddie Furlong, but
I don't feel Mom. That's him in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah, I mean but there is no arguing that it is the best of the movies. Welcome to this week's episode. I almost said again, I am your host, Craig Williams. But yeah, so we have a really fun one for you today. Ryno and I went to say, as you heard on the show last week, if you watched or listened to last week, I announced that Terminator 2 3D would be closing at Universal Studios Florida on October 8th. After that would be the final day to go watch it. And then on the 9th, it will be closed. And so Ryno and I had to waste no time at all. And we had to get over to Universal Orlando so we could go experience Terminator 2 3D, The Battle Across Time. And oh boy, this is going to be a doozy of an episode. If I do say so myself, which I do say so. But we are going to talk about that in just a couple minutes, because I feel like we need to talk about one news item that was revealed yesterday. And that is, we have the dates for next year's A Celebration of Harry Potter 2018.
Yes.
Yes, very interesting. So yesterday on Universal's social media pages, we got the announcement that A Celebration of Harry Potter would in fact be coming back to Universal Studios Florida, Universal Orlando as a whole, from January 26th through the 28th. So keep it in line with every other year before. It's going to be that final weekend of January, which sometimes rolled over into February. This one's just going to be straight up January, and that will bring back the Harry Potter fandom that has never really left Universal, but it will bring it back for one short weekend that will be full of film talent, question and answer panels, special panels on how the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in the parks and on the films was created. Lots of stars always show up. We don't know which ones will obviously be here for the 2018 version. My preference in this one, and I surprised myself with this one. I finally, after many months of putting off wanting to watch Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I finally sat down with Kylie as we were taking a break from hurricane prep one night, and I gave it a shot, and I finally watched it. And I actually really enjoyed it.
I know you hate Eddie Redmayne.
I just like Eddie Redmayne. I think he is a fantastic actor, but he is only doing the same thing. And we've talked about it on the show before. I don't like his little I'll just go whisper.
Oh, no one liked me at school.
I wasn't popular, but on my
I am a wizard. That's what I wanted him to do.
Yeah, I just wanted him to speak at a normal tone, but I texted you this earlier, not today, but right after I watched it. The only thing that I think saved Eddie Redmayne's whisper acting was that the rest of the cast was very wonderfully fleshed out.
Dan Fogel, is that his name? Dan Fogel, the one from the Goldbergs.
Yes, the one who plays the uncle on the Goldbergs. He's in there, and like the two girls that they got for it, I thought they were both.
She is popping up in everything too.
Yeah.
The one who I'm sorry, I can't remember any character names right now. But she was in Steve Jobs. She plays the mother of his daughter, Lisa, and then she was in Terminator. Not Terminator. I'm sorry, we were just talking about Terminator. Alien Covenant. She's the main character in that, and man, she's just popping up in everything these days.
Catherine Waterston.
That's it. Yeah,
who in the movie she plays Tina, and then she lives with her sister Queenie, who was fantastic too. I thought that
I liked her quite a bit. Yeah,
and I thought Colin Farrell did a good job as Graves. And
okay, can we'll just deviate here for like 2 seconds because I do want your opinion on this. And I'm sure people want to know. So it's been long enough. Can we talk about the ending really quick?
Yep.
Okay, so do you kind of wish that the character... I'm sorry, what's Colin Farrell's name
Graves.
in the movie? Graves. I kind of wish that Colin Farrell was just oh my God, what is the evil wizard's name? Dumbledore's boyfriend.
Yeah, honestly... my gosh,
people's heads are exploding
so
right now as they listen to this.
Embarrassed right now.
Dumbledore's boyfriend.
It's Grindelwald.
Grindelwald, yeah.
Sorry.
I kind of wish, like, I enjoyed Colin Farrell in the movie so much, and I loved Ezra Miller, who is apparently going to be in the second one, which is great because Ezra Miller is he loves Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So like any interviews with him were like really fun to watch, but he's a fantastic actor. But I wish that it was Colin Farrell in the rest of the movies.
Yeah.
The reveal at the end is the only thing where I was like, it wasn't really a reveal because you show it to us in the first shot with his hair
exactly
pulled back, and then Colin Farrell's hair is the exact same haircut. Yes. So you're
just
like,
a different color.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm not surprised. I am surprised about the actor you chose here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just curious what you thought about that reveal.
I mean, I knew that reveal was coming though, so I don't think maybe someone spoiled it for me along the way. I knew Colin Farrell though was
They spoiled it when they said Johnny Depp was in the movie.
Yeah.
The announcement came like days before it came out, so everyone knows what Johnny Depp looks like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even if it's the back of Johnny Depp, you're like, that's Johnny Depp.
Yeah. No, regardless, it didn't surprise me in that way, but overall, I thought the movie was entertaining. The acting was all pretty good. My only true issue with the film as a whole, though, is I felt like even though it was like fantastical beasts and creatures, I felt like the CGI was a little bit bad. And whereas like Potter films, watching them back now, besides watching, Sorcerer's Stone, they definitely they got smarter about the effects and the whole look of the films. And then but with this one, I feel like they kind of took a step back, and the CGI is not going to age well at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I felt like all the animals, and I thought this while I was watching the movie too, is that for me, sometimes Harry Potter movies can have the best special effects I have ever seen in a movie. And so like when we got to this one, it didn't quite deliver in that same way. So you're like, oh, that's weird. This movie's made like 4 or 5 years later after the last Harry Potter movie. So why in fact did they cheap out on the special effects, or somebody got lazy somewhere? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a strange choice, but overall, I thought it was very enjoyable, and that was the long way of me saying, I hope that this year they actually do pay attention to Fantastic Beasts.
It would be nice to get some of the people involved in it. The woman who plays the American, the head of the Congress, the Witches Congress, Kravitz. What's her name? I can't remember. Zoe. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Zoe Kravitz plays.
No, she's the girlfriend.
She plays Lestrange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some actor in there. I mean, last year we got just the weird video from Eddie Redmayne. But
Yeah.
do you think, now that you've seen the movie, do you think that they'll ever pursue any Harry Potter expansions in the park? Since we know that's probably going to happen, do you think they'll ever mine this property for some of the expansions?
I think that they would be very smart to. The big issue, though, is you already have New York in the park itself, and there's no, without getting rid of Revenge of the Mummy or eventually getting rid of Jimmy Fallon way down the road, which,
God,
that.
the sooner the better.
But now looking back at Fantastic Beasts, if they could have extended the New York theme, like that old 1920s New York theme, with what is now the Tonight Show building and all that, if they could have made that very heavy 1920s New York and put something Fantastic Beast in that spot, I think that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But now looking at it, really you just have the Mummy, or if you took out Transformers and extended New York that way.
Well, I think the difficulty is the next movie is not going to take place in New York at all. It takes place in like Paris and somewhere else they announced. So I think the difficulty with incorporating this franchise is going to be the locations aren't as fixed. Whereas like Hogwarts, obviously Hogwarts, Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley, those are permanent fixtures of the Wizarding World.
I feel like they hit it right with the time period, though, that they chose. That time period would fit into Universal right now without a lot of effort, without having to do like.
It'd be cool if they added a new lounge that was like themed to the Speakeasy.
Yeah, and
they went to,
I think that's a simple way they could integrate it, but at the same time too, that would require J.K. being okay with a land from her whole world being built in one specific location and not in a contained area like you already have. And I don't think she would ever go for that. But I hope that Fantastic Beasts is actually incorporated into this year's celebration of Harry Potter. If it's not, I mean, we talk about it every year. We're happy that it gets so many Potter fans out and about, but it's just becoming stale year after year after year. If you've done it once or twice, chances are you don't even need to do it again unless you are like the mega fan. But
they try to tease in the announcement new things, so I think they're just teasing that, or they are aware that that's the feedback, that it's same thing, same questions every year, same thing. Like,
well, last year it was like, we're gonna have this big announcement, and then what was the reveal? The Forbidden Forest.
Something?
The Forbidden Forest was coming to the studio tour in London.
Yeah, and you're like, nobody here, the majority of the people here aren't going to be able to go to that.
Yeah. Or they announce a new exhibit for the Harry Potter archives that, they made their way around the States years ago, but I believe they've been in Europe ever since. So you went when it was in the States, right?
Yeah, I went when it was in New York.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually before the movies were even done. The last movie wasn't out yet, I don't think, but it was cool. But it's like, I don't know.
It's just
not. You can't be like major announcement. Major announcement is new movie information, or like J.K. Rowling's writing a new book.
And in the release date of when Fantastic Beasts was coming onto Blu-ray from last year, that was not a big announcement. That's just, it's another announcement, but. Look forward to that celebration of Harry Potter 2018, January 26th through the 28th of 2018 at Universal Orlando Resort. That's going to do it with our talk on that. And let's get into the meat and potatoes of why we came here. We are going into Terminator 2 3D Battle Across Time. So let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start, indeed. And that, of course... No, not a gay trap. If it becomes something bigger than itself, then it's not a gay trap. Okay.
Whatever you say.
It is.
I can't even remember her name in that movie. Maria
Von Trapp.
Well, yeah, I know. That was on me though. That was bad. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you. So, Terminator 2 3D Battle Across Time is basically, for those of you who have never experienced it before, people who have, who may not put it together, it's essentially the sequel of Terminator 2. And if you haven't seen any of the Terminator 2, if you haven't seen any of the Terminator movies, then you know that Terminator 2 is the classic of that series. The whole reason why this attraction exists still to this day, the reason why Terminator movies have continued to try to be brought back and franchise, it's all because of Terminator 2. I mean, it transcends the series that it's in and actually is just a solid movie.
It's a good example of, and I think the Alien franchise did the exact same thing, which is ironic. They're both around the same time, and James Cameron is kind of responsible for the shift in tone for both of them, obviously. I mean, James Cameron created Terminator. It's one of his very early movies. Terminator's like a horror movie. And like it's a pursuit movie. It's a non-stop. This Terminator does not stop. It's this woman on the run. It's got that touch of sci-fi horror in it. You know what I mean? And like that beautiful, just enough mythology that it doesn't turn off the average moviegoer. And then the second one comes out, and it is like this, like dramatic, just like well shot film, cutting edge special effects. It's still got that horror movie ish feel, but it's like an action movie, but it's really like this comment on society and where we're headed. And like you're like, wow, this got real deep real fast. The same way like Alien 1 is like a horror movie in space, body horror, and then the second one is this like female empowerment action movie, It's just incredible.
No, absolutely. So it is definitely the best of the Terminator movies, but again, just as a sci-fi movie as a whole, I mean, this is a top 5 sci-fi movie of all time, probably for me. I think many people would put it up there.
It's one of those movies I think you kind of rewatch as you get older. Every so many years, you'll be like, you know what, I'm going to watch the Terminator, or Terminator 2, and you're like, I don't think it's going to be as good as I remember. And then you watch it, and you're like, man, that movie is fantastic. Yeah. Like it ages very well, like you said. It transcends that kind of time. The special effects still look phenomenal. Isn't there a 3D release of this movie coming out?
It already came out, and it did not do well. So it basically was kind of the nail in the coffin for. I mean, if you pay attention to how movies are going, it's a lot of the trends in seeing movies in 3D has started to go way down. It's 3D is not as popular as it was.
Yeah, I think IMAX is pulling out of the 3D movie game actually too.
Exactly, and so 3D is just kind of going downhill. They have done very popular 3D re-releases in the past before they did it for Phantom Menace, which wasn't huge, and then once Disney bought Lucasfilm, they canned all plans on re-releasing any more of the Star Wars movies in 3D. But Titanic was re-released in 3D,
which I saw that.
Yeah, that was relatively popular when it was re-released like that. So it's not the first. This wasn't the first time they've done it, but they tried to do it again, and it just completely flopped. And it basically has put a nail in the coffin of doing any more re-releases in 3D for old movies. But in terms of the movie, though, as a whole, it still holds up to this day. It was released in 1991, and then development for Terminator 2 3D began in the early 1990s as well, too, because of its popularity, although it didn't end up debuting in Universal Studios until April of 1996. So that actually caught me by surprise.
Wait a minute, what? It didn't come out until 1996?
Yeah, the attraction did not open until 1996. And then it was kind of a simultaneous production because, well, it was costing a lot of money. So they needed to get their mileage for it. So it also opened up in Universal Studios Hollywood in 1999, and then it did open up in Universal Studios Japan in 2001. And of course, after ours closes in Florida, the only one that will remain is one in Japan until it inevitably goes the way of the Back to the Future. When that closed down too, I mean, they still have Jaws, but they lost Back to the Future for Despicable Me. Eventually, they're going to lose Terminator 2 3D as well. That may be a good thing. But yeah, opened up with us in April of 1996. So the cost for the actual attraction itself, the one report I'm seeing says that it cost $60 million. Another one says it cost $36 million. But where I'm seeing this, the film alone, so all the filmed portions of this, that cost $24 million, and the attraction, the film time was only 12 minutes. So at the time,
Yeah.
I don't believe it holds this anymore, but at the time that it was produced, it was the most expensive movie per minute ever made,
Yeah.
which is just absolutely insane to me that a 3D movie
It's
for a
good.
theme park.
Probably good reason why it's still around. Still around, as they were really trying to get the money's worth out of it. But I mean, it says they shot with 70 millimeter film, like for this, like that's like IMAX size film, you know? Like it's just kind of, and it's James Cameron, and I'm sure everybody got paid well for this.
Exactly. That's a good thing to bring up with this. James Cameron, as I mentioned in the intro here, James Cameron did come back to film this. Universal approached him to do this, and once he found out the idea that they were working on, he was actually all for it. So he wanted to be a part of it and bring it to life. So right there, when you have James Cameron who wants to be a part of it, you're going to need a budget for that because he can't do anything on the cheap or quickly. And then for the attraction, they brought back Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Eddie Furlong, as we've already said, and then Robert Patrick. So they brought back the 4 stars of Terminator 2 3D specifically for this film. So then you get a payday with all of that, and they did not spare expense in terms of the budget for the effects at the time and just everything that went along with it. So it just became this juggernaut of a production, and I'm sure at the time in 1996 when it debuted, it was probably absolutely incredible and amazing. Unfortunately, though, that is not the case so much anymore, but we will get there and start moving along our way and go through our little experience with Terminator 2 3D that we had just the other day. So let's not really waste any more time and let's get into it. Terminator 2 3D. So this is in the Hollywood section of Universal Studios Florida. I had to really think about which Hollywood section it was in anymore, and if Hollywood was Hollywood or what was happening with that. But yeah, it is in Hollywood, and basically you are not going into a Terminator 2 attraction as, I mean, yeah, the sign is there on the outside that you're going into it, but that's not kind of the story for it. The story is that you are actually going to head into Cyberdyne. So Cyberdyne Systems, and you are going on this tour and seeing what the future is with everything happening at the Cyberdyne facilities, which, leave it up to Universal to come up with that fun story that was right on the nose. So the queue is long and winding. I honestly forgot how big the queue actually was, to the point that we walked past the door at one point in time and realized they had an outdoor queue for this attraction at one point in time. But just, it fits in with your idea of Cyberdyne and kind of this future that's coming up, in that it's all very stainless steel, very cold, very dark. It really looks like it would fit in right in the actual Terminator universe of things. During the queue, eventually you pick up your 3D glasses because this is a 3D show, as we've said. But yeah, for the most part, at the start of the queue, yes.
I'm just reading trivia to bring out too. So this was one thing that was brought up too. The Miles Bennett Dyson Memorial Auditorium. Miles is the man who was working at Cyberdyne it was Cyberdyne in Terminator 2, right?
Yeah.
The facility they go into. Yeah.
He was Skynet is the chip, but
yeah, you're right. It's like the program they're putting online, but Miles is the man that Sarah is like going to go assassinate, and John's trying to stop her and stuff. And you should see the movie. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure most people have at this point in time. But yeah, so just mentioned, after you get your 3D glasses and stuff, your tour through Cyberdyne continues. You head into the Miles Bennett Dyson Memorial Auditorium, which is where your pre-show will take place. And the pre-show is it's definitely entertaining to a point. So it was redone in 2015.
Okay,
which,
it was redone because there's a woman has an iPad in it, and I was like, how did they know about iPads?
Yeah, no, it was done in 2015. You can tell just easily when you're watching it. It's so crisp. The HD, I think they shot they definitely remastered some of the film with it because it looks good. But yeah, so you head into your pre-show room, and that's hosted by Kimberly Duncan, which is nice.
Super.
Yeah, super. She says super a lot.
Super.
And yeah, so you're in that room, the pre-show room, to watch a video about Cyberdyne and their innovations and everything that has kind of like led up to what will be the release of Skynet. And so at this point this is when the kind of the interruption happens in your video and reality kicks in. And instead of watching this fun promotional piece on Cyberdyne, Sarah Connor and John Connor take over the feed. And
Sarah has not lightened up one bit since the end of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. She's very mean.
Yes, she is very mean. At this point, this is your first look at Eddie Furlong.
Who has not aged well.
but now, so when we were standing in there yesterday and we didn't bother to look up when it was opened, I was just kind of like ballpark. I'm like, you know what? Well, Terminator 2 was released in 91, so they probably filmed somewhere like late 88 into 1989, stuff with the amount of special effects that they actually had to put into the film. So that may have been a longer post-production. So then I was like, well, if this opened up early 90s, maybe it was...
Principal filming began on October 9th, 1990.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was a quick turnaround then for that point in time, especially with those effects.
Between October 9th, 1990 and March 28th, 1991. It took a long time, too.
That did take a long time. So, but yeah, anyways, so we were trying to pinpoint how Eddie had aged so badly and so much.
He's got really bad bags under his eyes and stuff, and I'm not sure what kind of life Eddie Furlong lived. I mean, he was in one of the Crow movies. I've seen that because David Boreanaz was the villain, so obviously I've seen it. But it just I was like, ugh, you really thinned out, and he got these guys real bad.
Yeah, he did. And sorry, I should say that right now they are still maintaining the rule. Once you're in the pre-show room, there is to be no video or photos in there. I mean, we had conflicting reports. One
girl said, I don't care. We close in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're like, I like you.
Yeah. One said that, and then another team member there said, no, go ahead and take pictures here in the queue, but once you get in there, I need you to put the camera away. So, of course, we respected it for the time being, for the most part, minus that picture I clearly took in the pre-show room that we've already shown. But, I kind of left it at just a quick photo. Didn't do anything. So I apologize. We don't have that for you. I'm sure before the attraction closes, we will be able to go through and do a full appreciation video like we try to do for most attractions when they're closing. So that'll be in the future, but we don't have it right now. But yeah, essentially, Skynet is still a threat, and Sarah Connor and John Connor are urging us to all get out.
They give us a little video that sums up what happened in Terminator 2 about the Terminator model that came back to help her. So that way, if you haven't seen the movie, then you're familiar. Like, okay, well, this Arnold Schwarzenegger looking fella's the guy who helped, and all this stuff, and you're like, okay, so we're not going to acknowledge. So apparently, the events of Terminator 2, which we've learned in the other Terminator movies as well, did not prevent the onslaught of Judgment Day.
Exactly. It never does. But we are,
fight the future, man.
You can't.
That's what the third one's all about. That's what I like about the third one.
Okie dokie. You're allowed
like
to
the third one. People don't.
You're allowed to like.
I like
Listen,
the third
you're
one.
allowed
It's okay.
You're allowed to like it.
It's okay.
So Kimberly then moves us into our next auditorium room where we're going to, get an idea of some of the latest and greatest from what they're doing at Cyberdyne, including the T-70 Terminators, and these dramatically rise from the sides, and
lots and lots of steam,
and
I don't know what it is. Smoke? I don't know.
Exactly. And these Terminators are bad. They mean business. And so they are put through a weapons test where they drop down targets from the walls and show how accurate these killing machine, the T-70
Yeah, pay
killing
no
machines
attention to
are.
the fact that these things already have holes in them. So I thought, I was like, oh, they're not even hiding those holes.
I didn't see any holes. I suspended my disbelief.
Well, one of the effects here that I do enjoy is the target things come down and the Terminator shoot at them, and all the Terminator Gatling guns, whatever those are called again, like Gatling. They're going off with lights shooting out of them, and then the targets have lights going off in there, and then like little punched holes fall from the ceiling. And I always think that's a nice touch.
Yeah, no, that is a nice touch. At that point in time, Sarah and John, then your first time where you get to, besides Kimberly, obviously, along the way, you really get to see the first time this blends live action with a 3D movie. Because I don't think I even said at this point. Yes, it is a 3D movie, but it is a blend of live action stunts. Say with air quotes there, but live action stunts performers along with the 3D movie. So John and Sarah come in from the ceiling and rappel down.
Yeah, just drop dramatically.
Yeah, and they run up to the stage and get ready to take over.
One of the cooler things kind of about this too. So these two actors are in the same outfits that Sarah and John are seen in the video but the lighting is just so that like there's shadows over their faces. So you're like the bodies look right. And what they establish when I already forgot her name. Kimberly starts the video is she clicks a button and there's a video monitor behind her that shows her. And it's her behind the podium in this video. So then when that video then traces Sarah and John when they come in, it's actually Eddie Furlong and I have forgotten her name already too. Dante's Peak. What's her name?
Linda Hamilton.
Sorry. They show her they show their faces. So it's kind of a cool So the actors are moving in the exact same way that the screen is showing them so that it looks like, I'm in the room with these two characters.
And for the most part, they do nail this. Yeah. I'm sure they've done it a lot and practiced over and over again. They do nail it. Adding on, besides just like showing the shadow in the right places, they also, with the 3D glasses that you're wearing, helps to dim that even more. Yeah. So you can't really tell. But
it's clever.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's a very clever effect. I love how they integrate that. Unfortunately, it's just not John and Sarah that show up. It's also the T-1000. Mm-hmm. And he comes on ready to do business. Unfortunately, this is where we say goodbye to Kimberly. Spoiler.
Bye, Kimberly.
No spoiler, but the T-1000 does.
This is the first time, too, that we see the effect of the things coming literally out of the screens.
Yes.
Because the T-1000 is the Cyberdyne symbol that was on the screen behind Kimberly, and then it liquefies when John and or Sarah, one of them, shoots the gun off.
Exactly,
and the bullets hit it and it melts, and so the liquid metal drops down in that teardrop form onto like where the base of the stage is, and then rises up as an actual human being, or Terminator, whatever, on the stage. So it's like a cool he came right out of that screen, and then killed Kimberly.
Yeah, Kimberly dies. Rest in peace, Kimberly. But then a second Terminator comes out through the time portal, comes out through the movie screen, and this, of course, is our main Terminator, our main man, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, actually appearing. Like, he has nothing else to do right now, so he is playing himself in this on a daily basis. And I thank him for that. But yeah, he comes out of the time portal on his Harley and rides out with his boomstick, ready to just shoot off. And God, things get noisy.
They get loud real quick. Yeah,
they get very loud. But he needs to take John Connor and help save John Connor, as he always does.
What happens to Sarah here? Why is she not part of the story? I missed this when we watched the show yesterday.
It's all very loud and quick, and so I'm in the same exact boat. I don't know where Sarah runs off to when...
I mean, think about it. Sarah's not the main objective. The objective is to kill John Connor because you kill the Resistance. So if it's back in that time, I mean, she's low priority, I guess. So the Terminator just grabs him and shoots off through that time portal.
Well, and this is like one of the coolest parts of the show for me, is that the motorcycle comes out, they jump on the motorcycle, and then it seemingly it goes in through the screen, and then it takes over into the 3D. Unfortunately, the motorcycle wasn't there when we saw it. And so they just awkwardly walked off stage.
Yeah.
And it did not... it did not look good. And I will admit, it's been years since the last time I've went in through Terminator. I think Ryno and I kind of pinpointed the last time we did it together, but it's been a long time. And back then, I don't remember it being as bad in terms of the effects not working and the 3D not being
No, the motorcycle.
vibrant.
I've never seen it without the motorcycle before, so that was a first for me.
Yeah, and it made it look bad. But that was just the start of it looking bad, because then you get into the 3D section. The first part of it is obviously Arnold and Eddie are being chased by the T-1000 on a motorcycle chase. And yeah, and this, I mean, it's exciting. It feels like it's right out of Terminator 2 almost, in a way.
It's like,
exact
it's the scene
same
with
look.
the car. Yeah,
It's just it's a beautiful sequence, except for the fact that the 3D is so wonky in there right now that it was like the glasses did absolutely nothing. You were just watching the double.
Yeah, it's like somebody was like, this is how you make 3D, right? We'll just project two movies at the exact same time next to each other. And so you're like, I can't really even see what's happening, because it's like two, like, just slightly out of, like, not even slightly. It was like majorly out of focus. It was like, it just, we're like shifting the glasses around. Like, is it because we sat too far forward? Were we, whatever? It's just clearly this projector has not been calibrated correctly at all. And it's sad.
No, it is. And but this part does last a good amount of time. Like we said, 12 minutes in total for the filming, and this is a good chunk of it. And they continue to be attacked after the T-1000. After they get rid of that momentarily, then they get attacked by the hunter killers and the little flying around hunter killers, which I will put a picture. This is like the promotional picture for those of you who are watching this, that they put out to showcase what happens in the show. So the little mini hunter killers are the things that kind of look like Weebo from Flubber with a gun.
That is what it looks like. That is exactly what it looks like. I was trying to pinpoint it yesterday, where I'm like, what do these guys look like to me?
Yeah, that's my best description of that. So they're coming after it. A Terminator endoskeleton also comes after them, and of course the head has to come off in fantastic 3D form, as it always should be, in the most epic way. But yeah, John and Arnold, I'm just bouncing around their different names. John and the Terminator eventually do make it into the Skynet core.
T-800.
And this is where you meet another one of the new creations that they made for Terminator 2 3D, and this is the T-1000, which, if you are watching again the video, the creature in the middle this time is the T-1000. Very, very scary. But one of the cool parts of this sequence is there's another one of that integrating the live action into the movie, the actual movie that's happening. So they have this sequence where the Terminator and John climb up this staircase, and then they both disappear into the screen at the exact time that then Arnold and Eddie Furlong reappear on screen, so that way Arnold can eventually deliver the bomb that will destroy Skynet.
Not before he says, "I'll be back."
Oh yeah. No, he does say, "I'll be back," and Eddie Furlong jumps in the time portal and makes it away. And long story short, they save the day, but only for this time. And then it ends with this dramatic kind of Terminator ending.
Sarah Connor monologue. Yeah,
and her and
I'll
Eddie
never
are back
be
on
happy
stage.
in life. That's what it always sounds like to me. I'm like, oh god.
And and that is, in a whole, that's it for Terminator. I know this was a poor retelling of it, especially since we just watched it yesterday, but that's how much of a mess this thing is. Talking in our critique of this now, I think the show, if it was all running seamlessly, all the effects were working properly, the 3D was actually held up, given a good 4K transfer, just popping vibrantly off the screen, like so many of the 3D movies you see anymore integrated with attractions. If it was like that, I think this thing would still have legs.
Yeah.
It's actually entertaining. There are cheesy sections to it, but you have to remember, this was this is a movie of its time.
It's also like, I feel like it's got the moments, like the cheesy moments in it are those moments that were like, okay, we know we're developing this for a theme park full of people. So there are inconsistencies with tonally from the movie to this. So like Arnold's character making the joke about the T-800 that they destroy. That's like, oh, did you know him? He's like, he was my college roommate.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, God.
I know, that's a great way of putting it. They lost. I mean, Terminator 1 and 2 are both hard R movies.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And
there's humor in them. There's, I mean, well, the second one more than the first one, but when John's teaching the Terminator about Hasta la Vista and all that, and it kind of like gets like it's like, oh, people love when the Terminator does that stuff, so we're gonna do that stuff in this attraction.
Yeah. And I
do also have a major issue. Sorry,
no, go ahead.
With the fact that they go through the time portal and they're just like, oh, my motorcycle with all our clothes can go through this, and I'm like, they're always naked in the other movies, like. So I'm not trying to be like, oh, there should be naked people in a theme park, but I'm like, whatever, I get it. It's a theme park attraction. I'm not going to be brat about it.
Walk over to Toon Lagoon. You'll find many naked people over there bathing in and around that area. But yeah, no, there are little inconsistencies, little bad jokes that have to work this way because you can't translate a hard R movie into a theme park and be family friendly for everyone. You have to make those tweaks and adjustments in it. But I think, because Terminator 2 is such a good movie, I feel like this one did withstand the test of time. The issue is, Terminator, if one of the sequels would have actually like grabbed on and held strong, maybe this would still be considered more relevant for this day. Maybe they would work a little bit harder to update this rather than just completely turn their back on the franchise. But
well, it's hard because the third one took that turn where the third one for me is like, okay, the two are phenomenal, are great. And I like the third one. I think the third one's fine for a sequel. The fourth one is horrible.
Yeah.
And like you can read all about it, why it turned out horrible. I think it had an interesting idea, but it just not executed well at all. And then Genesis is just the weirdest thing ever. Like not really delivering on what it kind of promised. Unfortunately, because another idea that I thought was kind of interesting, but again, they didn't actually get into the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah.
But the third one takes that turn where it's essentially like it's inevitable. Judgment Day is inevitable. So I feel like when the third one was coming out, they're like, oh, maybe we could update this. And then the end of that movie, they're like, oh, shoot, maybe we can't update this because of the way it ends. But I agree. Yeah, none of them really took the world by storm the way the second one did,
Exactly. And that's just kind of when none of the other movies, sorry for my butchered English, when none of the other movies kind of picked up and held that same stamina that T2 did, it instantly set into play that eventually this attraction would have to go away.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Like 1 and 2 are probably, if not, they probably will be at some point in the Library of Congress. You know what I mean? Like they're culturally significant. I don't know that the third one ever will. Will definitely probably not be. I mean, it's not. It's not as iconic. It's just a thing that you're like, oh, they made other ones,
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. So it is really tough. I feel like they just needed to give this attraction some extra TLC, but
Terminator Love and Care.
Terminator Love and Care. But I mean, we also can't argue that whatever they replace this with, it will be more relevant, and I'm sure it will be on a franchise that will continue to make more money and have that cross synergy with Universal. And because that's what Universal wants right now. They want properties in terms of when they're basing a ride off of a movie or whatever have you, they want something that is viable with it. Transformers was definitely viable. Kong, while that was, you can look at that one way or the other. Yeah, they didn't make Skull Island. They weren't in on that, but there are Kong movies still being made, which gives that relevance. And at the end of the day, Kong is classic Universal. So it was definitely a way to bring him back, give the fans what they want with that.
Yeah.
Do it a little bit on the cheaper because they can integrate a lot of Kong 360 in it and, blend it all together at the end of the day. But Fast and Furious, obviously just a money juggernaut.
Yeah.
Might not be relevant to everyone, but it brings people in. So they're making the right choices. Just here and there they miss Jimmy Fallon, which is what it is. But
yeah, it's one of those like in property things though. So they probably needed to update the building either way, and they were like, well, might as well turn this into this thing.
Yeah. So we'll see what ends up replacing it. But like always, we have to throw this out there. Would we put Terminator 2 3D in our Universal Hall of Fame?
I would, because for me this is a staple attraction. Similar to the way I felt like when I think about Universal Studios, like I think about Back to the Future, I think about Terminator, because these are attractions I remember as a kid, and but also I talk about what I think makes a thing relevant for a Hall of Fame, and a lot of it is innovation and technology involved in the attraction. And I was reading that Universal had actually created the drop chairs, for this, and there were other things in the attraction that became Universal. Like there are little things that you wouldn't think of, but Universal was the first to do it for this attraction. Not to mention the fact that you talked about it earlier about the flawless integration of the actors on the platform, on the stage in front of you that just go into a screen. And then the fact that those actors are like people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's a movie directed by James Cameron. These are very special things that, for all those things alone, I would say Hall of Fame worthy for me.
Oh, I absolutely agree. In terms of innovation, and it's what it took to get that made, and then how it was. Granted, I didn't experience it back in the heyday, but I can imagine what it would have been like to be there in '96 and see this. It would have been incredible. So on that merit alone, I can say that it is Hall of Fame worthy. Yes, it's fallen apart to this day, but it was inevitable. It was going to happen. So I can't knock it on how it is now because of how many great things it did accomplish back when it came out. So for me, it's Hall of Fame worthy. Of course, we'll leave it up to you guys to vote on it. We'll do that over at disboards.com. And you'll be able to vote whether or not you think Terminator 2 should be in a Universal Hall of Fame of sorts. I'm very interested to see the exact answers on that one. But yes, we will miss Terminator 2 3D when it goes. But that's also going to mean that this episode is going to have to go. And by that, I mean, we're going to wrap things up here.
I want to go.
So I want to go too. So we have to go because we have to start preparing for tomorrow, which of course is the very first night of Halloween Horror Nights, which we are excited about. So if you weren't keeping track at home, that means next week you can expect an episode on our thoughts and opinions on this year's Halloween Horror Nights 27. So watch for that next week. But thank you so much to everyone out there for listening to watching this. We really appreciate it as always, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you need more information, head over to disunplugged.com. That's home of the show notes for this show and many others. So I do appreciate those of you who have been patient over the past couple weeks. We've had madness up and down. We've been changing things up with our servers and where podcast files are hosted. A lot of stuff has been going up slow, late, disappearing for old shows, new shows. So I apologize for all that, but thank you for your patience during it, as well as during our little time off that we had for Hurricane Irma. And I'm glad that we're all safe now. We've all come over on the backside of it, so hopefully things will get back to a normal schedule. Stuff will start going out when it's supposed to, because we know you're just waiting and watching for it. So thank you again for all that. Ryno, thank you so much for having this conversation with me, as always. And
well, I'll be back.
We'll be back.
Yes.
Until then, hasta la vista, baby. Yeah, but that's going to do it. Thank you so much again. And that is it for this episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. We'll see you next week. And until then, remember, no resolutions.